Hey fellow writers, this is Jessica Froberg, and today I'm going to tell you how I found my CPs. Alright, first off, what's a CP? In case you don't know, is a critique partner. It's another writer who should be on a similar skill level as you, and you exchange chapters and help each other basically edit each other's manuscripts. So, I figured out that I needed a CP because I've been watching AuthorTube. And they said, you need a CP. And I'm like, that would be awesome. I don't know any writers, have any writer friends, so I'm gonna do this. And I watched Kim Chance's video, I remember, and she said that she was having her chance to connect on Twitter. And so I signed up for Twitter, definitely Googled how to use Twitter. Yes, I will admit it. So I got on to do Chance to Connect, and did the questions, had a lot of fun, and at the very end, one of her questions was like, if you need a beta reader or a critique partner, blah blah blah, put your comment here and we'll see what happens. And I will show you guys the original tweet, and this really cool girl named Rachel commented. I actually got a lot of comments, which was really cool for me. Brand new on Twitter. Her and I exchanged first chapters, and it was awesome. It was like just sparks, it just clicked. I read her first chapter and I totally understood the writing style. I could see her strengths and her weaknesses, and her weaknesses were things that I was good at, and so I was like, oh, I know how to help her with this, and it kind of made me feel pretty cool. So I did, we sent it to each other just in Word documents, and we both did line edits. And then I sent her back my line edits, and I also did some comments. And I think I looked back at our emails, which is so funny to look at, like, our little formal selves before we started being like crazy friends. And I think my comments to her were, your descriptions are amazing, but you have too many of them and the pacing is off because of it. And I was like, I'm good at pacing, so I can help you with this, and kind of gave her some other pointers. And hers was like, we need more. I need more world building and more unique stuff, which is totally something that I struggle with. So it was awesome, and we just kept exchanging chapters. After the first one, I think we were both in agreement that we liked each other's stories, we liked each other's writing, and our critique style. And so we set the next chapter, and it usually took like 1 to 3 days for us to get back on a chapter, and we just stuck on the same chapters together, sent them back and forth. And I think around chapter 10 I started asking her questions. And it was a little nerve-wracking because it felt like very much like a business interaction. I mean, we were friendly, but I was like, I want to know this person a little bit more. And so I started asking her questions like, so where do you live? How long have you been writing? How long did it take you to write this book? Where did you get your idea for this book? And we just started getting to know each other through random questions. And it kind of made me, I don't know, I had to be brave, and I just had to ask these questions. And so as we were emailing back and forth with the chapters, like each time we were answering our questions too, and just becoming better friends. And then at this point, we'd finished like a section of both of our books, and we decided to Skype. And I was so nervous. It was like I was back on like a date again. My husband was like, you're getting ready for the Skype date? I was like, yes, I have to make a good first impression, okay? So I actually like put on makeup and did my hair, and we Skyped. It was a little hard. She's on the East Coast, and so I'm on the West Coast, so figuring out time frames when both of us could do it when our kids are napping. But we Skyped. It was really cool to like hear her voice and like see her actually talking to me. And I feel like that took our relationship to the next level for sure. That Skype call was amazing. From that time on, we did a lot of Skype calls. Rachel is my CP for structure, plot. Like, she is so good. My book would not be what it is right now without her. My middle was a little bit sagging, And so she'd be like, what if you had this happen? And I was like, well, you're brilliant. That's what CPs are for. They just bounce off ideas. We had so much fun. Oh, it was really cool. We actually did this thing, it was called SOD, so Song of the Day. And so I would send her a song and be like, this represents this character, can you tell? Or this song is from this scene, can you tell? And so we start sending those kind of songs and just writing songs back and forth. So like at the end of our email, I'd do like SOD and then the title and the artist. And when we finished each other's books, it was awesome. Her critique really helped my book, and it felt amazing. It really did. And from that point on, both of us have been just editing and working on it. So yeah, it's not like we stop being CPs, but after you finish each other's chapters, it just becomes a different relationship. And so it became more of a friend-based relationship for sure. So yeah, that's Rachel. She's awesome. She's helped me so much. But while I was editing chapters with Rachel, I was also trying out some of the other people that commented and some other people that I'd in contact with, and so I exchanged first chapters with quite a few people, probably about a dozen, and honestly none of the other ones went through. Either they ghosted me, maybe they hated my writing, I don't know, or I really didn't like or connect to their story or their writing style. And so after like a first chapter critique, I said, no, thanks for exchanging first chapters, I'm done, sort of thing. And I did have one girl that I went to like her chapter 8, and then I just finally decided that her story wasn't for me. It's just a personal preference thing. And so I told her that very politely, and she was really nice about it. To this day, I still worry that I hurt her feelings. Yeah, I still worry about that. I'm a definite people pleaser, so that was really hard for me. But I stuck to my guns. I wanted someone who I enjoyed their story and who I enjoyed their critiquing style and who I connected with. And so I said no to a lot of people, or just did first chapter critiques. So after all of those chapters, exchanges, I was feeling a little discouraged. I mean, I was very happy. I had Rachel, I thought she was awesome, but I wanted a second pair of eyes. Just for reasons. I don't know, I thought multiple CPs would be good. So I kept looking, and then I remember I was watching one of Alexa Dunn's videos, because she's awesome. And she'd been talking about critique partners, and I saw one of the comments underneath it was this girl. She was frustrated that she couldn't find a critique partner, and it's like, well, she writes YA dark fantasy. That might be cool. So I remembered her name, but I was too scared to comment on the time. But then on Facebook, she also made a comment asking for CPs. And at that point, I'd been given a second chance, and I was like, I have to do it. And so I messaged her on Facebook and I was like, hey, I'd like to change first chapters if you're up for it. And she said yes. And I read her first chapter, and it was like the sparks again. I was like, I like this story, I like her writing style, and I know exactly how to help her with it. And so I sent her back my critiques, and she sent me my first chapter critiques, and they were so good, so spot on, and she was really funny. And I was like, yes, let's do second chapters. And she said yes too. Thank heavens. And so this is Lindsay. Lindsay's awesome. She actually has a YouTube channel too. I will link it down below. She's super funny and super sassy, and she tells it how it is. She's my critique partner who is super blunt and just calls me out for all of my mistakes, and she knows me so well by now that she just calls me out and she's like, you can't get away with that. I know you can do better. Her feedback is perfect for me. She's really, really good at description, just gorgeous, beautiful description, and I'm very much like a plot point, plot point, plot point sort of person. So she helped me. She's like, why didn't you explain the scene a little bit? Or, I have no idea what your character looks like. So she's helped me so much with that. But we kept exchanging chapters. It worked really well. Very similar story to Rachel. Like halfway through, we were just like best friends. After you exchange that many chapters and you talk back and forth, it just becomes that way. It was awesome. And we talked a lot about reading too. Lindsay's she's really big into reading. Obviously, her YouTube channel is reading. And so it was fun to talk to her about books. And she knows her stuff. So yeah, Lindsay and I mostly talked on Facebook, actually, which is funny because I never get on Facebook. I get on Facebook to talk to Lindsay and for the Pitch Wars mentee group. That is it. I think we moved more to Twitter now, which is good. It's really, really cool when a CP finishes your work because they've been through it, they've been helping you edit it, and it's so fun. They're your first fans. They really are. They love your characters, they love your book, they love you. It's just wonderful. Like, I could not praise CPs higher. It's so awesome. So at this point I was really happy with 2 CPs, and I feel like they both helped me with different things, so I wasn't really looking for another one. My manuscript was finished, and so I entered RevPit, which is a contest. I'll link it below if anyone wants to check it out. And so I submitted to my 2 editors and was waiting, and I was playing on the hashtags with different people, and I think I answered a question about what I was writing, and someone commented on it, and she's like, hey, I write YA fantasy too, and we started DMing in Twitter, and we found out that we both submitted to the same editors, and so both of us were watching their 10 queries and trying to guess each other's, and we were just kind of helping each other through RevPit. Neither of us got into RevPit. We both did pretty well and talked about our requests, and it was really fun, but we didn't get in. But we stayed friends, and we kept talking, and I was supporting her through her querying, and then I was like, I should really read your book if I'm supporting you through querying. I have no idea really what your book is. And so she sent it to me, and thank heaven she turned out to be an amazing writer. I loved her first book. It was really, really good. And then she read mine for me, which was really cool, and gave me edits. And, I haven't even said her name yet. So this is Jessica. Yeah, we're both the same names. We're twins. So Jessica and I, we both read each other's books, and she's like an editor. She got her editing degree, and so she's really good at grammar, which is something I'm not bad at anymore. I've definitely learned, but it's one of my weaknesses for sure, and so she helped me a lot with that. It was really good. So Jessica and I, after we'd read each other's books, we just became best friends. We talked so much. I talked to her way too much. And then we both decided that we were gonna do Pitch Wars. And she started writing a brand new book, and she wrote it lightning fast while I was editing TSC, which is the book I'm querying right now. And so I finished with betas and editing it while she was basically writing her new whip. And then I read her book. I read it in like a day and a half. It was amazing. It blew my socks off. And we both entered Pitch Wars together. And it was so good to have a friend that I was entering Pitch Wars with. I actually had a couple friends that entered Pitch Wars. Yeah, she and I, we talked a lot. We both celebrated when we got requests and talked about the agonizing wait over it all. It was really fun. And then we both got into Pitch Wars, which was really cool. It was amazing to have someone that I was really close to in Pitch Wars with me, to talk through all the details and all the emotions that come with being in Pitch Wars. And obviously, I don't know, guys. I have just been so lucky, but I've also found a lot of other writer friends. I think it's really hard. There's like a blurred line between critique partners and writing friends. So I definitely say my critique partners are those who went through my early draft of TSC and who helped me edit it, and who I worked through their manuscript with them too. But I have a lot of writer friends who beta read for me, or I beta read for them, and we talk constantly. One of them, Jessica, I FaceTime way too often. Sorry, Jessica. But yeah, it's been awesome. And the biggest takeaway I want to share with you guys is it takes work to find a critique partner. Remember those dozens of people that I went through manuscripts and changed and exchanged first chapters with? Like, a lot of them didn't work out, and it was hard, and it's hard to say no, or it's hard to have people say no to you. But if you keep going and keep trying and putting yourself out there, because it does take being brave. If you see an aesthetic on Twitter, or if you hear a blurb or a writing of someone that put on Twitter, or just someone that you admire and that you like, don't be afraid to DM them. If they say no, then they say no. But if they say yes, then you can exchange. Man, I'm having the hardest time with that stupid word. You can exchange first chapters with them. And the worst of it is that, like, you get to read someone else's writing and help them edit it so you learn and send it back, and they don't ever edit yours. That's happened to me. I definitely edited 5 chapters of someone's work and then stopped because they never got back to me on my chapters. But it does work. If you keep putting yourself out there, then you'll find someone who you can be with. I'm sorry, like, oh, I have like these perfect lines, which actually kind of looks pretty cool. Okay, I fixed it, but it's a little dark. Anyways, I'm wrapping up. CPs, they're awesome. They are so awesome. So that's my experience with my critique partners. It's been amazing. They have made my manuscript way better. It's awesome to have a group around you and to really feed off of them, and then to provide them stuff too. I totally recommend it. Can't speak highly enough. I love my critique partners. Hi guys. So yeah, that's my story of how I got my critique partners, how it works with them, how our critique styles worked, and all that jazz. So I hope you can find critique partners or more critique partners, whatever you are looking for. But just write our friends, because they're totally worth it. Anyways, good luck and happy writing.